you buy an Office 365 or a volume licensing key to deployment. Because during that time, a lot of things happen, and most of them are a problem for you. So the name of this session is called Bridging the Gap, because we want you to learn the few things that happen after the licenses are bought, because we get a lot of queries on that stage. Besides that, we'll also cover the different portals that are available, how to use them, and we'll also cover projects. We'll fly through a typical project, and we will also cover Windows Azure. Please stop me when you have a question. I don't mind taking questions, and yeah, that's it. So I'm stalling. I'm trying to stall, but this machine is actually messing us up, because we have this, we spent like 2 weeks trying to prepare for this. So you can't like break that vibe, But in the meantime, I'm going to talk about what happens. So how many I've sold Office 365 licenses? Okay, that's good. Business licenses, I assume, right? So was it Office 365 Business or Business Essentials or Business Premium? Which licenses have you sold?
Business Essentials.
How was that?
Well, it was better than previous, with a new website where you can log in now.
Yeah.
It's much better now for partners as well.
Is it? So
the experience is a bit better.
And did you find the process of, where did you buy the license to start with? Did you buy from us, or did you buy online, or?
From Microsoft itself, as a partner, as a Microsoft partner.
Okay, so you went to the online portal and
yes,
you bought them.
Yes.
And did you get paid for that?
Not yet.
Do you think you'll get paid for
I
that?
don't know.
Okay.
That's a problem with Microsoft, you never know what's going to happen.
So in the past, they used to pay huge amounts of money. So back then, 2-3 years ago, I was working for a partner. And when we close, let's say you close a 20,000 rands deal per month, they will take the 20,000 multiplied by 12 and give you like 20-30% of that upfront.
Yes.
So it was a very profitable business to buy online. But over time, they actually realized that it's not beneficial to the South African market. And then they had introduced volume licensing, Office 365, and they wanted to push people out of online purchasing to volume licensing. And while that was happening, they actually started cutting the rebates on the online service from 20 to 12 to 4 to, I think now, almost nothing. So over time, and that's done for 2 reasons. They want you to move to volume licensing or to CSP, because those ones are channel driven and they want to support the channel. So what I would recommend is, next time when you have a customer, explore CSP or volume licensing. It will be slightly different or even better, because you determine how much margin you make out of that. Yeah. So when the license is bought online, it's easier because you go and you create the portal and everything. But when you buy the licenses on volume licensing, for instance, you get an activation key. And that activation key is not assigned to an Office 365 portal. It's just an activation key. So from there, there's a few steps that you need to go through to actually get that license assigned to the portal. And that's where the challenge comes in. And at the same time, you find that lately, the future of IT, like partnership, you no longer look at partners who are big. You have a company with 5 people, but they're highly effective because it's easier now to deploy cloud. And that's what this session is all about. So Rectron has introduced services where you go and find the customer. We charge you 2,000-3,000 rands for your 10 customers, and we go and install everything for you. And then you charge your customer 10,000-20,000 rands. You get paid for the work that we do. And in the end, you have peace of mind. We make extra income from the extra services that we offered. Everyone is happy in the end. So, but the whole point is, a small company can now deploy enterprise level services without having to
employ all expertise.
Exactly. So in our service offering, we actually can do email migration. We can, are you open? No. Can you get speak? We can do email migration. We can install Skype for Business. We set up OneDrive for Business. We can even do training for your end users. And to be honest with you, the cost that we charge you is literally nothing. So what we want to achieve in the end is you go, you find the customer, and then from there you hand over the matter. You get paid after the project is done. So the last project we just did was in KZN. It was for 49 users and they were migrating to Office 365. It started on a Monday, by Saturday it was completed. So it's that simple and it's straightforward. So the other thing that I want to talk, yes?
Sorry, how about the training of the middleman? Like not the supplier, we as the supplier.
Yeah.
Talk about the training of the end user.
Yes.
How about the training of the middleman?
So for instance, if you wanted us to come, there's a couple of things that we do. We have workshops where we train our partners on how to deploy Office 365. We have and these we make once in a while, and we can also have them on demand. But what we try to do, let's say for instance you have a project and you want us to help you with that project. When we're done setting up for you, we will train you on how to create users, how to add users, how to delete users, basically how to use the whole admin console. So you will know that part. And when we do our project, we actually take you with, and you see everything that we do, and we give you the documentation and methodology that we use, so that when we're done, you know how it's done. And then next time you can decide whether you want to do it with us or you can try on your own and we be your support. But we are all about our growth, and we think if you know what you're doing and we support you, it will be easier. So, but if you want us to help you with training, just let us know. We can have that. We will skip this. These are the things that we're covering. I've already spoken about this, Rectron services. So the other thing that the other thing that I want us to talk about is Volume License Services Center. Do we know about Volume License Services Center? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay, so when you sell licenses, have we ever sold any volume licenses? You have. So when you sell a volume license agreement, Microsoft have created a portal where you can actually access all the licenses, including the additional benefits that comes with that agreement. So the benefits are tied to software assurance. Do you have a question?
Can you go with others that has moved to Tladie? Doesn't move to Ansie.
So this is the slide before the start.
From the volume laser.
Yeah. Which one?
There.
Okay. That you can stick here. Can you open VNC? So Volume License Services Center covers the following. You get your normal licenses. So the main benefit of having Volume License Service Center is if you buy a volume license agreement, 10 years later, the customer still have access to those licenses. You don't have to go and look for boxes like this one. You buy it now, and 10 years later, this might be missing and you might need it. So the whole point is you have a central place where you can download old versions. But besides that, when you have software assurance, Volume License Service Center always gives you the latest version of software. That's part of the benefit of it. And inside the Volume License Center, you are able to now go there and check what licenses does your customer have, what benefits do they have. If they have training vouchers, you check what training vouchers, and you can even schedule for them to go and have training for free. And this training would be at Talk IT or at Bytes or whoever training provider that you prefer. So that's part of the benefit. It seems like our system is failing us, so I'll just keep talking. And I'm sorry, we might not be able to show you. Let me give you access. Okay. Connect to this. Connect to that. So when you get, she's gonna try to log in, and then we'll show you, and I'll fly through because I think we've already wasted a lot of time. When you get there, you will see what agreements your customer have. So let me give you a scenario where this is important. You meet a new client, and you want to take them on a journey to convert them to whatever solution you want them to use. The first thing you need to check is, what do they have? And the best place to start is here, inside Volume License Services Center, because it will show everything that they've ever purchased in the past. So that's a start point. If they do not have access to that Volume License Service Center, and bear in mind that IT people change over time. So I can be the IT manager with my own things, and the next IT manager comes with his own things. So they never really keep a clean record. Yes?
This is different from the online portal.
Yes, it's a different portal altogether. So this one specifically talks to all the licenses that were bought outside, whether it's 365, if you bought them in a volume license agreement, you will see those licenses here. But bearing in mind that 365 is a subscription, so if you find a subscription that was bought 2 years ago, it might not be valid today because it has been used and it's valid for a year. So, but for instance, if you bought Windows Server 2008 and today you want to activate Windows Server 2008, you can go there and you will still be able to get the key. So that's one of the points for using this portal. If you are a developer, I don't know if you guys know about Visual Studio. We do know it, right? Okay. There's a tool called Dev Essentials, a site called Dev Essentials, where you get benefits as a developer, and I'll talk more about it from an Azure point of view. So when you go there as a developer, you're given a number of benefits, and these benefits help you to actually develop a test environment before you go to production. So for instance, if you want to run a trial for your customer, you go to Dev Essentials and you create your test environment, you develop and you test with your customer, and then once the site is done, then you buy licenses and then you make the site live. So inside, this benefit here talks about, if you buy Visual Studio, there's also a feature called MSDN, and MSDN gives you all the servers that you need for a test environment. So some people try to do test environments on a live system, and that's a bit dangerous sometimes. So when you want to create such a test for a customer, you would need to go there, activate your services, and then go from there. Are you live? So this is the Volume License Services Center. The first thing to note is you get licenses. There it just shows you how many licenses and what licenses were bought at the far my right. And then online services is where you will activate your software, your Office 365 licenses. So unlike when you buy those licenses from online, so in this case, you buy your license and then you come here, and then it will show you all the licenses that you have for Office 365, and then you just click activate, and then it will actually request you to log into the, yes?
Sorry, for the education, I know this is, you're talking broadly here, but for instance, the Office 365 for education,
yeah,
that activates, it's close, to leave for free and then you upsell to E5.
Yeah.
You do the separate, but Rectron would be the first point of contact.
Exactly.
As a verification agent and everything like that.
Yeah, so from an academic point of view, yes, what happens? You create a tenant, you verify the domain so that they allow you to buy academic licenses. When the domain is verified, you come to us, you place your free SKU licenses, and then you come here. The same way, you come here, you activate those licenses. When they're activated,
obviously you verify the domain where
so you create your tenant.
Yes, yeah.
And then you verify that you are actually an academic institution. So the domain verification, where you send some TXT records to the domain to prove that you own that domain and you are who you claim to be. I don't know if you guys have been through that process.
Yeah, I've done it.
Okay. So with academic, the thing is you can't continue if they haven't verified that you are an academic institution, because you get free licenses in that case, and they don't want to give a corporate free licenses. So once you verify that you are an academic institution, you can even place the order in the meantime. You come here, you will see the name of your subscription, and then you activate it, and then you assign the license to that tenant that you verified. And then from there you can then begin with your process. You decide which workloads you want to deploy and stuff like that. Does it make sense? Okay. So the next thing, software assurance, I spoke briefly about it. So download and keys, I'm not going to even entertain because it's a straightforward. That's what you get. If you have an office, you go there, you download Office Media, and you get a key, you go to your user and you install. It's very straightforward. So all the keys that your customer will have, whether it's before your time or whatever, it doesn't matter which time, as long as they bought under volume licensing, you will have access to it and you will be able to use even those prehistoric licenses. So download and keys gives you all the keys that a customer has. And it's also important for a new customer. When your customer is new, find out and see what you can leverage to actually cut your customer's cost while you're actually making them the best value. Because remember, when you cut cost, you are increasing your margin. And most of us never look at it that way, that if you can save them from, instead of buying office, you use their current office and you just give them the online services only, and then you increase your margin on the deployment. So it helps you more or less. So you get your keys there, and then under software assurance, these are all the benefits that Microsoft has given. Please understand, benefits are attached to software assurance. If you buy Windows Server today and you don't attach software assurance and your customer gets ransomware, for instance, you can't log a call to Microsoft because the call is a feature of software assurance and it's linked to this. So when you come here, it will show you that an engineer, one engineer can be allocated to you, and then that you assign the name of the person who can log a call, and then you log your call, and Microsoft will call you within 5 minutes. So most of our partners, we actually lose out on such benefits. You find you have a problem and no one will fix it for you. You take weeks. You ask South Africa, and South Africa give you the runaround, and it becomes tedious. So this helps you. So whenever you're selling a license, include software assurance so that you can benefit from this. You also get new version rights, you get learning, you get a whole lot of other benefits that I can send to you if you're interested in. And then I think the rest are not so necessary, but this is the Volume License Services Center. And when you do decide to buy licenses for your customer, make sure you don't buy boxes, buy an agreement. To start an agreement is 5 licenses, and it can be any 5 licenses. And when you buy that agreement, include software assurance. And add a fair markup for yourself, because if a license is 100 rands and you make 5 rands out of it, it's not worth it. So make enough margin out of that. Can move on. So the next thing, how many of us know about Azure? There was a session, Windows Azure. Anything? Anyone? No? No? Absolutely nothing. Okay, that's fine. So Windows Azure is a data center in the cloud. In my language, that means it's a server room that's not here, it's somewhere else. Simple, right? So it's a server room that's sitting somewhere else, and you can rent any component in that server room. It has all technologies. Yes?
It's basically Microsoft's version of Amazon Web Services, right?
Exactly. But when you get there, you won't just find Microsoft products there. You will find Linux, you will find Ubuntu, you will find basically everything that is out there. Because the whole point of that data center is for you to do what you want to do with the technology you're familiar with. Simple, right? So, but the catch is, we are in Africa and internet is an issue for most of us. This data center, you choose which data center you want to use. The fastest is in Northern Europe, I think. And relatively, we have a system called Studio at Work. We use it frequently. It wouldn't make sense for me to go and put a VM and put Studio there because of how frequent it's being used and considering the bandwidth. So in South Africa, we have specific things that we recommend can be done on Windows Azure. 3 things. The first one is Active Directory. You can have your Active Directory in the cloud. The beauty of having your Active Directory in the cloud is it won't go down like on-premise. On-premise, if electricity isn't there and your servers are not power backed up, you might lose your Active Directory just like that. So we recommend that if you want to set up an Active Directory, instead buy Active Directory in the cloud. The second thing that we recommend is backup. Have your backup done in Azure. The last thing is disaster recovery. So I don't know how much you understand about disaster recovery, but I like drawing pictures. And this guy said I can't go beyond this point. So this is complicated.
You're still fine.
Is it fine? Okay. So, a disaster site, you have your primary site traditionally. And in big companies, this is how they do it. They have site A, which is the live site. And then a branch has another server room, which is identical to the main site. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot, meaning that it's actually live and it has the same information as the primary site. The more agile your secondary site is, the more expensive it becomes. Because we know logically, you need to literally have a copy of this. And if this costs 2 million, this will also cost 2 million. If this was 5 million, this is 5 million. So what we do is, we say, instead of buying all these servers, why don't you create a disaster site in the cloud? Okay, this doesn't. Thank you very much. But no one will see this. Okay. So you have your disaster site in the cloud, but remember the cloud is just a server room that belongs to somebody else. So in that way, you now go to the cloud, you create the same identical environment as your on-premise environment, and then when a disaster happens, this crashes out, all the users just redirect to the cloud. They won't notice if the design is done perfectly. They will notice if it's a partial disaster recovery, because you can have a partial disaster recovery where you're saying, I want to operate, but on a minimum, while I'm fixing what's down here. So Windows Azure acts as a disaster recovery, and in 2 instances. The first one, you now have, this is server 1, and then this is the cloud. Server 1 is duplicated here, and everything that's here is also here. When this stops working, the users start using this, and that's it. The second instance is you have server 1, and you have server 2 in a separate site. You have cloud. So for this and this to replicate, you need a lot of licenses. You will need a Vim and a whole lot of things to actually connect the two. Instead of buying all these additional licenses, you come to the cloud and you say, I want you to be an orchestrator, more like that person who tells things where to go. And then when server 1 sends information, it sends it to the cloud, and then the cloud says, go sit here. When disaster comes, this tells this one that you are now the main server. This one is asleep. And then when this one wakes up, it takes the information back here. And then the Azure acts as an orchestrator in that case. Does it sound complicated? No, it's very simple. So case 1, where you take this and put it into the cloud straight. For that to happen, you will pay around 300 and something for the first instance. And then when you have set up the backup, you will also pay for the server itself that you have made in the cloud, the recovery site. So you will pay for the orchestration, and then you'll pay for the recovery site. The orchestration is around 300 rands per month. But the recovery site will depend on how big the server it is that you want to replicate in the cloud. Makes sense. The second scenario where, yes sir?
How often is the backup getting done?
It's your choice. So it can be a monthly, it can be weekly, it can be daily, it can be hourly, it could be every 15 minutes. It depends on you. But bearing in mind, again, the more frequent the backup, the more data it consumes. But if you have fast speed, that doesn't really matter. And the other thing to consider from that replication is it uses incremental replication. So meaning that if today I have this and then tomorrow I add a small portion, it won't do the whole backup. It will just take the difference between the two. Yeah. So it's savvy if we.
And the size?
The size is up to you.
The size of the Azure?
Yes. Azure is a big data center. If you want the whole data center and you have billions to pay Microsoft, congratulations. Congratulations. So you decide what you want in Azure, you decide how you want it. Exactly. So now we're going to look at how you calculate the size. That very question. So let's say we have a site and we want to create a backup. Because I think backup is necessary these days, especially with ransomware. How many have been hit by ransomware or know somebody? Okay, it's coming. So because there's ransomware, it's better to back up into a far away place and a place which is not as volatile, because cloud is very secure. So we want to create a backup solution. So the first thing to note is we always back up into Northern Europe because they claim it's the fastest way, it's the fastest line to South Africa. But you can choose other locations. It's up to you. I wouldn't do in America because we don't really like Americans. We have no choice. Yeah, America is not really nice. So Northern Europe is what we recommend. And then you choose how many instances. So let me define an instance. This is server 1. It's in location A. It has 10 VMs. This is server 2, location B, 5 VMs, server 3, server 4. How many instances are those? You can guess. I'll give you a price if you guess correctly. Here's the price.
4 instances.
4 instances.
4 instances.
You said that first.
Yeah.
Yes.
You mentioned 4 instances. So a server and whatever content is inside is an instance. So you have 4 instances. So, okay, let's put our 4 instances there. So the more instances you have, the more you're going to pay. My recommendation is with Azure Backup is have a centralized port and have one instance backing up to the cloud. Because if you have more instances, it's better to say you and you and you send all your information here, and then this will be our only instance which will send to the cloud. Because the more you have, the more you pay. And then let's say for argument's sake, we want to back up 10 gigs into the cloud. It's per month. Because you're using, even if it's once, even if you're sending the 10 gigs into the cloud once, to keep it there, you have to pay.
The difference that you about?
The incrementals.
Yes.
It will just increase slowly.
The amount.
Yeah, by cents. So this is what you would pay for
all the 4 sites.
Is for all the 4 sites per month. And then you also choose redundancy. So let me explain why redundancy is and why it's important. So let's say, for instance, you send information that's ransomware there and it affects the first site. The second site will pick up that the last backup that you sent. Oh. So the last backup that you send to the cloud is corrupt and it will just block everything that's coming to the redundant site. And then you can go to the redundant information and recover from there. So that's a security thing. So there's 2 levels of redundancies, local and geo. Local means that inside this data center, in a separate server that's not connected to your primary server of location, there is a full backup of everything that you've put into Azure. Geo means that there is another server somewhere in the bushes in another country where they've put a server with exactly the same information. You would understand then that why the 2 prices are not the same. This is more expensive than the other one because you are now saying I want my data to be backed up into another country on another data center. So basically, this is how you would then calculate the cost of a backup solution. Now that you're done, you take this amount, this is the monthly price, you multiply it by 12, which will give you your annual price. Microsoft quotes these things in $100 vouchers. Then we divide it into dollars, and then we'll give you a quote, and then you go up and assign, and then it will actually tell you that based on your data, you have until next year June to renew your subscription, and then you go from there. Straightforward, right? Are we clear on Azure?
Just one quick brief question. You don't have to elaborate on this too much because it's kind of unrelated, but I'm curious about the free account link up there.
Free account link. They want you to actually, it's a way for you to use a trial and then to subscribe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a trial to the basic Azure services.
Yes. So what we do with this, we use Dev Essentials. So if you want to try Azure, you want to set up a backup for your PC to test it, we can help you with that. We will set up a Dev Essentials, you'll get credits, every month you'll get 400 rands, and then you can play around with it and see how it goes. And then when you're comfortable with it, then you can buy real tokens and then set up a live environment. If you are interested in this, I'll give my contact details. Let me know. I'll take you through the process. I'll bring Microsoft to support you. We'll go to your customers and help you sell the product until you're very comfortable to do it yourself. That's Azure.
Sorry, we are running out of time, and as you saw in the beginning, we had difficult technical problems, so I couldn't say much. Oh, flip. It's the keyboard. Oh. I'm going to have to just rush through because we don't have time. So these are the two services that Rectron is actually offering to our partners at the moment. So we've noticed that a lot of you guys do deployments for your customers, and sometimes you have too many customers and you can't reach out to all of them. The service, the 365 deployment service, is not for customers that don't know how to actually do the deployment, but for those that can, but they just don't have enough time to reach out to everybody, and for those that actually don't know how to do it as well. So we've already done a few projects already. Our pricing is extremely very competitive on the market. We are very cheap, and so basically if you want us to go out to your customer to do the deployment, we will go as you, will not go as Rectron, because we noticed that some of you guys are actually uncomfortable about us going out as Rectron. So we go out as you to represent you, and we do everything at a certain time. So we'll send out the SLAs and the time frames and all of that, and send out the pricing as well, if you do require us to actually coach you on it. So some of our customers also suggested that, you know what, we don't want you guys to actually do everything in the back end, the migrations, the initial deployment and setting up and everything, and activations in the background. They will do it themselves. So they just suggested that they want us to actually do the installations only. So you do everything on site or at your companies, and we go out to the customers to do the installations on the machine. That's another option that we've been given, if you guys are interested in it. And the other one was to do to test your networks to see if maybe they are cloud ready. One customer suggested that they should want that. They don't want us to do anything. Sometimes they don't have enough time. There's a customer who's interested in 365, and they don't know if the network is cloud ready for us, for them to actually go out and provide the package for them and do the deployment. So you guys are welcome to come up with suggestions on what would actually work out best for you, depending on your customers and all of that. And we also offer Azure backup deployments. I think my partner Chris actually touched up a bit about it. So if you do have customers that are interested in the backups, we can go out and do the setup and everything for them. We can even do like a short training on to a walkthrough on the portal as well, so they'll be able to help themselves after everything has been set up. Do you guys have any questions regarding the deployment services? These are the only two that we are offering at the moment.
So in the Office 365 part, So we do email migration, we do Skype for Business setup, we do OneDrive for Business configuration, and we do Office installation. On our migration methodology, we do not do hybrid. So for instance, if your customer has an old version of Exchange, we will not set up an Exchange 2010 and migrate to 2010 so that it's compatible with the cloud. We'll do a cut over, which means we'll do a backup of your PSTs, migrate them to the cloud, and then we switch the records. So we don't do too complicated processes, and it's important for you to be aware, because when you do a cut over and we're not ready for it, it might disturb the customer. So we will tell them there will be a downtime at this point in time, and it will take us 2 hours, for instance, to set up all the users. So we don't do SharePoint, because SharePoint is a very big solution, and we don't have the skills for SharePoint yet.
Sorry, can I just ask a quick question? How big is your team that do the migrations?
We have about 6 people.
And do you do after-hour migrations as well?
Yes.
Our last project was, the cutover was being done on the weekend, because cutover is disturbing. Yeah, so it was done on the weekend. Yes.
What's the threshold on 365? How many people can you move to 365?
As many as you afford to pay for.
And what's the minimum?
Minimum is 1.
Minimum is 1.
Yes. And maximum is whatever you determine. Yeah.
Okay, so these are the support tools that are available for Microsoft for different issues that you guys do experience, and for activations as well. You guys can just take them down if you want to, but sorry, we need to just rush through. And we've got a few prices, so I'm just going to ask you a few questions. Which 2 services does Rectron offer at the moment?
Office hardware.
Azure setup, Azure backup from 365 setup.
And
The last 2. They're not as cool as that. She's still trying to find a very difficult question, because an umbrella is very expensive.
What is the contact number? You can ask what's your contact number.
Ask just a random question.
Random questions?
Yes.
Okay, name one backup solution that is available. No, sorry, one Azure solution that is available
That's
on the moment that Microsoft
Online
offers.
backup. Or cloud backup.
That's
Cloud backup.
Yeah, okay. And there's a couple.
He says I should give it to him. Do you guys agree that I give it to him? Or should I ask the question?
What are one of the benefits of software assurance?
No, it's 2
You can
million.
get 2 balls.
No, the balls are just, guys,
Throw the ball.
this table hasn't gotten anything at this table. So guys, the whole point of this session is we are available to help you. So if you feel you're struggling with a customer, or you need us to go with you and represent you to sell something, we can go there. We've done this long enough to actually understand that we can support you. If you have a project that you want us to help you with, we are available to go and do the project for you, and so that you are profitable as a business, because when you grow, our business also grows. So when you have issues or you have challenges, just contact us and let us know, and then we'll actually come through and support you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, guys.